So this is Future Shay recording to say, I actually know I said I was going to talk about suicide and I did not cover it. And this podcast was so beautiful to me. I don't want to touch it. So no worries about that. When it pops up, I'm not talking about suicide on this episode, but it probably will be featured on the next episode. Okay? All right? Okay. Enjoy the podcast. Mwah. Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome. I am probably going to play with this camera a lot. I finally got my mic set up beautifully and shadows are bouncing weirdly off the wall. And because I don't know what I'm doing, I guess it's okay. Well, we're just going to vibe with it. And if it's not vibing with me, I might have to get up and adjust. I'm sorry about that. But welcome back to the channel, friends. I hope you had, like I say again, a Merry Christmas. I hope you had a Happy New Year. I hope that you got to see loved ones. And even if you was hanging out by yourself, I hope it was worthwhile, dude. You know, because B time is always needed. I had a lot of family time, but it was fun. This was probably the best New Year's of my life. And I mean, I've had a few other spectacular New Year's, but sorry, excuse me, audience. But yes, welcome back. I am sorry. I feel like I should always put this disclaimer in here. I am awkward, but I'm going to work past this and I'm going to know what to say to the camera eventually. But so welcome back to the Pajama Party, a Pox Perspective. Last week was just like a introduction week of me saying what I wanted to talk about on this channel, like what I hope to accomplish, you know, and we're back at it again for another week. And I just want to put a shameless promo in here. I also run another podcast called The Real Bible Stories. And what The Real Bible Stories is pretty much a podcast talking about or really looking at the characters of the Bible. For example, last week I did Adam and Eve and I talked about how human they were and, you know, like how they had a moment of weakness, and so how we shouldn't hate them or blame solely one person in this act, you know. And then this week I was talking about weakness. And so today I'm going to be talking about weakness on this channel as well. But if you want to go check that podcast out, it is on Acast. Sorry, I'm pausing a lot. I'm trying to make sure. It's so much information. And even now, like recording, I'm like, I did not write that down. So I'm going to have to get better at that. But so yes, go check it out on Acast. It's also going to be linked below in the description. And I hope you guys will really enjoy it because it's from the heart. You know, I really love the Lord, and despite me sometimes feeling like, why am I doing this? I know He is faithful, and I know He is just, and He's promised me things. And even outside of the promises, I know He wouldn't have put it on my heart if He didn't find me capable, you know, to do this for Him. And so I am nervous but excited to talk to you tonight on this podcast. Oh, and let me right now say the upload schedules that I'm thinking about. So I plan on releasing a Pox Perspective every Saturday at 8 p.m. That is going to be my goal attempt until the series runs out. I want to make it for that time, so that way, you know, it's not too early in the day where people are up, but it's not too late in the night where people are actually knocked out. Like, this is a pajama party, but we didn't come here to sleep type of vibe. You know what I'm saying? Nod your head, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, but really, if you listen to it in the morning, whenever you watch it, that's fine with me. Just get cozy and comfortable. But that was my idea behind these two series, you know, just kind of like a chill night vibe, because I feel like I have a soft voice. I get told I have a soft voice, and so I don't think I'm really like an energetic, bubbly daytime type of host. I mean, I guess I could be if I wanted to, but this is where I'm at. Sorry, guys, for all the excuses. This is why I don't really know, like, why the Lord is like, I want you to do this, because I ramble a lot, guys. But back, full circle, or square, we are here. Okay, so with that being said, tonight's topic is weakness. And I'm going to put a trigger warning here. I do seriously want to tell you, I will be talking about some heavy stuff tonight, such as like negative thoughts, suicide, and racism, and of course religion. So if any of those things bother you, then I just want to give you a heads up. That's what I'm going to be speaking on. Once again, I don't claim to be a therapist, okay? But I just want to share my experiences because I feel like it's what my father told me to do. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, yeah, you know, I would love to have a podcast or a series where somebody like me just shares, you know, truthfully how it is to be them. And I guess with the beginning of all this, I would say judgment, other people's judgment has been the most taxing thing in my life to get rid of. This is going to be a harsh truth to admit, but I actually recorded this episode last night. And when I got through recording the episode, I noticed I was not facing the camera. I was looking off to the side, you know, like this. And while I don't think it's bad, because sometimes you get lost in thought and, you know, you look off and you ramble and stuff, I felt ashamed of what I was saying. I still felt shameful for that. And it made me realize like how much I have not let that situation go and how I do really need to heal. So when I was asked to talk about what I'm going to talk about tonight, I was unwilling. I was like, Father, at first I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. Like, I don't mind talking about that part. But then he was like, well, wait a minute. What about this bag of skeletons? And then I was just like, Father, I don't know. That's a little bit too vulnerable. And, you know, true enough, the Lord is like, well, you told me you'd be a living sacrifice. This is what being a living sacrifice is. And that sounds scary, but I promise it's, you know, I just say that because some things slay you. And that's what it is meant to do. And what I'm about to talk about, it has been something so secretive to me that I've never shared to the world. And so if I get emotional, I'm sorry. You know, I will probably cut and try to walk away so I'm not like bawling my eyes out on camera. But I want to be authentic and true about the things I felt. And I will explain some things I told to my mom. And, you know, really I talked to her about it because it was so hard telling her what happened because she had already known. And let me just stop there and get to what I'm going to talk about, because I know y'all are probably on the edge of your seats like, what is going on? So before I go any deeper, I did tell the Lord that I wanted to start singing more, you know, like in my podcast, in my videos. I just want to sing. Okay, so I got my music degree. I am a vocal major. I'm a mezzo soprano. I've had the hardest battles with my voice my whole life. And I guess that can kind of tie into this story that I'm sharing tonight. But, you know, singing has always been hard for me to conquer because other people's opinions matter to me so much. And, you know, I always heard like, oh, people think that they can sing so good, but they really can't. You know, and you may sound good to yourself, but you don't sound good to other people. And though it was never directly said to me, it was said at me in a way that made me think, is that what people think about me? You know, and I was so afraid. I've been so afraid to sing. And I just want to break and challenge every negative thought, every negative feeling that I have, and just go for it. So this short song that I want to sing for you guys and just let it minister over you. It's called I Will Exalt You. If you want to look it up, Maverick City Music did it with the female, and I'm so sorry I can't call her name right now, but I listened to it before I played this, and I was thinking about what songs I wanted to sing, and I was like, you know what? This one would be a good song to sing with the day I've been having today. So it goes, I will exalt you. I will exalt you. I will exalt you. 'Cause you are my God. He's my hiding place, my safe refuge, my treasured one. You are my friend, the King, anointed one, most holy. Ooh, I had to stop, y'all. I had to stop because that song will... Let me take a sip of water because that song makes me emotional. I'm so sorry on podcast you cannot see it, but on camera, if you see me looking down, like whenever I put my hands up, I did not paint my nails, okay? I know I gotta get better at like this woman thing. And so, well, I am a woman, but painting my nails thing is just, I'll get there. So, anywho, that is what all this looking around is, because I'm like, I said stop lifting your hands. Okay, so let me look at my notes so I can, you know, get into this story. So, as a Black woman, racism has been a thing that, you know, I am accustomed to. Not something that happens on a day-to-day basis or even a month-to-month basis. And okay, I'm not gonna read that. Well, I'm gonna say it was partly because I don't go out the house, you know, cue sad music. But it's right. But no, even when I do go out and I'm versed within people and stuff, I don't get too many racist incidents, but I do. And when I do get them, they don't feel so good. When I was growing up, one of the best instances of racism I can remember experiencing is I was in high school and I was trying to go to the choir room with two of my friends after school one day. One of them was white and one of them was Hispanic, but she was very light complected, you know, and I love this kid, like no hate against her, but I'm just trying to paint a picture of like, you know, her skin complexion. And so when we walked up to these double doors to go inside the cafeteria, because it was like, there was an outside area under this like little shed with wooden benches where we would eat lunch and wait for like our parents and stuff and just hang out till we left. And then when you go walk up a little bit to the side, it was the entrance to the cafeteria. And if you kept going straight, it was like the entrance to like the hallway and up the stairs, you know, just to paint a picture. And so this particular principal was standing at these double doors, and she was like, where are y'all going? And so one of my friends, we're gonna name her Vivi, she was like, we're trying to go to the choir room to get our music to rehearse for choir. I think it was a competition, solo and ensemble maybe. And she was like, she told them that they could go, but then when she got to me, she was like, and where are you going? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm going with them. And she's like, no, you can't be here. Why didn't you go before school hours was up? And I'm like, I had other classes. I couldn't get, you know, to this place because my class was all the way on the other side of campus. Like, I had to come back. And, you know, she was like, no, you can't come in here. And my friends are standing behind this principal and they're looking over her shoulder. And my God, I did not realize how much that had affected me. Y'all, I wasn't even gonna tell this story tonight. Okay, I had to come down because once I start crying, baby, it is on. Like, I will be a tough booger, but you produce these tears and it's gonna come. But this is freeing for me, like I need to cry about this because I need to let it go and move on with my life and be who God has called me to be. So, this lady is like, you cannot come in this building. You're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to do something else, or tell your teacher to come out here to give it to you. And I'm like, how can I go tell my teacher because he is in the music room? I am trying to get to the music room, and she tells me, you need to go back to where you came from. I was mortified. I felt so shunned, so embarrassed, so talked down on. I felt powerless, like I felt weak and I was angry. Never in my years of being a human had I ever heard anybody say something like that to me. And yes, I've heard about it, especially because my hometown is a racist hometown. And I'm going to shout it out. I am from Jasper, Texas, where they drug a man for the color of his skin. And I used to be ashamed of growing up there because automatically when people hear that I'm from Jasper, that is the first thing they think about. Oh, that's where that black man got drugged. And for me, it is not that people remember. It is that the only thing they think about when they hear Jasper is that. And to me, that is such a heartbreaking thing. How can you have a city or a place or a landmark remembered by hatred and violence when what we are sent here to do is to love people? I don't get it. But anywho, she told me that. And so my friends went and they got my teacher and they brought him back. And my teacher was a black man, which made it better, I guess, in hindsight, because he was like, well, what's going on here? And we told him the story and he was like, these are my students. They were coming to see me. And she was like, well, I just wanted to make sure, we can't let kids in the hallway after hours or something like that. And he was like, well, I told them that they could come because they needed to practice their music. I had okayed that. So yes, they are with me. And so when she let me in, my friends didn't say nothing and my teacher didn't say nothing. And when I was going through it, I was so hurt that I did not allow myself to feel sad about the fact that somebody had said that to me, and I love my mom for a lot of reasons. And I said I would talk about her this week, and I thought it would be this week, but the way the Lord dealt with me, it's going to fall next week. But I go home and I tell her what happens. This lady is on 50. And I was even asking her tonight if she remembered it. And all I could do was laugh because now that I'm older, she can tell me more things honestly, And I'm sorry if you heard that rustling, guys. I'm playing with the notepad. I'll do better. But my mom, that's my girl. That's my best friend. And so when I told her what the principal said, she went to the school. She had it. And she was like, don't nobody talk to my baby like that. I don't even talk to my baby like that. And she was like, nobody's going to be telling my girl where she comes from. I don't send my kid to school to get bullied. She said, I don't let her bully nobody. And I don't send her to school to get bullied. I send her to school to get an education. Well, no, Lord, don't say that to her because she will fire me. She said, I sent her to school to get an education and to be respected and to respect people. And the lady was like, I understand, ma'am. I understand. And my mom was like, you want to know where she comes from? She came from me. She came from my vagina. That's where she came from. And the whole time I am just like, no, because my mom is the type of person, she is not loud when she's mad. She has quiet rage, which is why she scares me. Because I'm envious of it because I want to get better at mastering that technique. But so how I just expressed to you, she said it was really like, well, Do you know where my daughter came from? My daughter came from my vagina. That's where she came from. She came from me. I do not send my daughter to school to be disrespected or bullied. I send my daughter to school to get an education and to be respected. Nobody's going to bully my daughter. Nobody's going to talk to my child that way. I don't even talk to my child that way. Well, as long as you know. She's just so soft spoken, but I can feel the heat coming from her, and I'm like, I don't want the smoke, man. And so, it was really nice to have that done for me. And I know that that was like a long story to tell you guys, but it really feeds into today. And I'm looking at the time like I am talking long, but hopefully you're enjoying this. I'm gonna try to not keep this too long, but yeah. And so I was telling her tonight, I was like, the funniest thing happened at graduation. When I graduated, we had to hug the principals or shake their hands as we got off the stage. And one of my cousins was actually one of the principals in high school. I really feel like he looked out for me a lot in junior high too. But as we hugged principals, she was the last one I hugged, and she was hugging on me, squeezing me on tight and stuff. And, I still felt a type of way after what she said about me. And so when I pulled away, I saw this big brown smudge on her shirt from my makeup, and I walked away laughing because you don't do God's children's wrong, okay? You just don't. But I'm saying all of that to say, as a Black girl, I had it hard growing up. I was really objectified. People assumed because I was like a curvy girl, and I might post a few pictures from high school, but I was a beautiful kid, and people would tell me, or I would hear from other people that I was being said to like have been sleeping with this and that guy, but because my hips were big, not that they had any valid proof or I told anybody I was messing around with anybody, but because my hips were big, and cornbread does not give you thick hips like that. Well, I don't know where family they're from, but in my household, it's in the genes, all right? We are gifted people in this household. And so, I always got bullied a lot by that. And like, if guys wanted to talk to me, it was really hard to talk to other races in school, especially because I feel like in Jasper, the notion was it was okay for a Black guy to be with any other race, but it was not okay for a Black woman to do it. And when I was really young, we didn't really have a bunch of ethnicities. It was really like whites, Blacks, and Hispanics. And then slowly we were introduced to like people from Vietnam, and then I think like Hong Kong, and then South Korea. But it was very slow. And so for any Black woman to be with any other race, it was just something that was not seen that much. And I remember like going through school, I used to be crazy, like head over heels for white dudes. I ain't gonna lie. And I think in part it's because, like I was telling my dad, you cannot keep telling me that everybody I know I'm related to is gonna set up phobias because y'all are running around here talking about no kissing cousins. Well, if I'm not supposed to be kissing cousins and all my cousins are Black and looking like me, what you want from me? Okay? Who you want me to like? That is a rant that I hope he does not see, but it is there. And so, I remember one of my crushes, his name was Tyson. I'm changing names. Y'all won't ever know the real names unless they come out. And even then, I have to confirm or deny it is that person. Let me speak my truth. His name was Tyson. And I thought that he was very attractive. He was a white boy, blonde hair, blue eyes, goofy, nerdy, a little taller than me, but that was bae. My so-called best friend, we gonna call her Lily. And if you watch it and your name starts with that, this is not about you, because I forgot. So let me do another code name so she don't get confused. We gonna call her TT. So TT and Tyson. So TT, my supposed to be best friend, she was the type of best friend. She always wanted who I had. And TT was very much trying to be like me. And I hate even saying that because I hate thinking that somebody even wants to try to compare and be like me. But it was true. She was like that. And she wanted Tyson as well. And I remember it made me so mad because he didn't treat anybody else like he treated me. I feel like it was apparent and it was evident that, we liked each other. But when I tried to go in a roundabout way of like confronting him and asking him out, he told me that his dad worked for the KKK, and so he didn't want to put me in any type of positions. And my mom was like, you know what? If he's telling the truth, that is right. You need to stay far away from him, because if his dad touches me or if his dad touches you, I'm touching his. And so I don't really know if that was ever true, but the last I heard of Tyson, he had got married. And baby, I hope y'all doing great. Shout out to y'all and them kids. I hope they are doing great. But I will say that like I said, I was attracted to them. Now, don't get me wrong, I was still attracted to black guys. I love every color, baby. But like I said, I just thought everybody was my cousin. And so this feeds into K-pop, which is important. Now, last week I talked about like how I fell into K-pop, and how I just became like infatuated with everything about Korea. It is just so beautiful to me. And like, I was even looking at my pictures a few minutes ago thinking like, damn, I really went to Korea. Like, it was beautiful there. Sorry, dang. I'm trying to stop cussing. And so when I fell into K-pop, I think it's only natural to say that, I became attracted to Asian men. Now, this is where this comes into play, because first of all, there was not really a lot of Asians where I lived growing up. Like I say, they came later, and like I would see them if I went to places like Houston, but really like I had to go to the mall, and even then I was so sheltered about them, I didn't really see them, if that makes sense. This is all going to be important, trust me. So as K-pop came and stuff like that, I realized I was attracted to them, and then there was this guy who worked at this nail shop, but he was Vietnamese, and man, he did my nails for prom, and I ain't gonna lie, like I knew that man was married, but he was my eye candy. I mean, I never did nothing with him or nothing like that, but I had a crush. I had a crush, and my mom used to tell me he would ask about me and stuff, and he was so excited to do my nails for prom. And honestly, he was just a wholesome man. Like, he probably never even thought more of me than like, this is my kid, and I adored him. Well, it's creepy to say he is my kid. Let me redact that and say like, this is my like, I don't know, like this is my girl, this is my I don't know, any way I spin it in my mind, it just sounds wrong. So I'm sorry. This is going horrible as far as explanations. But that was my guy, and I just don't want anybody to pervert it. Like, it was really wholesome and sweet, and I just thought he was cute. It wasn't like no like steamy energy or anything like that. He was just a cute guy, and I'd hold his hand, But so anyways, let me see. Okay, yeah. So anyways, it wasn't really like a lot of exposure to that. And like I say, I was really taught, it was told to me a lot. So yeah, I guess I was conditioned to believe, there we go, that all Asians did was like, code and was really smart at stuff and like science and stuff like that, which nothing's wrong with that. But the way they were portrayed in the media, it wasn't like what K-pop showed me, which is why I was just like, ooh, like I felt like at one point it was kind of like a punishment, because I had judged these people based off of what everybody else said. So now I am just enthralled by them and what is happening. But no, I really I was grateful to God. I am grateful to God now looking back on it, because had he never gave me an open mind to experience that and accept it for what it was, and to admit that I was wrong in stereotyping another race, I don't think that I would be as open-minded as I am today. Now, where that leads me to is, under K-pop, I ended up making friends, online and stuff like that. And a lot of my friends, I can't really say that all of them have been the best friends to me or what a definition of a friend really is. Um, I remember when I used to show like my concert outfits and stuff like that. And if I have some of those, I'll post those too. But, I used to show them my concert outfits and it was like they would critique me, be like, are you really wearing that? Like, I can't believe it. And I remember the first ever K-pop concert, or it was like the second one I was going to, but it was a really big deal because it was BTS. And I remember that, these, I remember that these girls was talking about my shorts and like these bow ties that I had on these thigh highs, and they were saying like how BTS doesn't like chubby girls and like BTS doesn't like black people and da 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 da. And J-Hope probably don't even remember this, but I saw him look at my thighs, like, you know what I'm saying? And so and those are just funny things to like say because I swear I love the Lord. But I mean, hey, if he was looking, he was looking. I ain't say nothing perverted or worse than that, but just he was looking at my thighs. But you know, still, even within that, or like within me, blushing over them fun and having that fan experience, what I'm trying to say is I was always told that stuff was like taboo. I was always told like black women are not really seen in this positive light. And so I think in a way that made me kind of scared of K-pop because I did not want to have a negative experience. And I just thank God that like through every encounter I've ever had with an artist, it's always been positive. I met BY and stood right beside him and took a picture, and I was petrified, but he was the nicest man in the world, and so jump back about 2 minutes ago and work this audio out. This is going to be a redacted statement, but I feel like that built up a lot of insecurities about like my attractions to other races and, wanting to be loved. I've never felt like I could be loved or valued by any other race because of what the media has told me. And with that being said, I'm finally going to tell you my weakness. I didn't leave you hanging. I promise I didn't. This is just a long episode. But, my weakness was a girl named Sama. Now I'm changing her name, obviously. I don't really think the name is important, but the story is. Now this is why I could not record last night, because I felt ashamed of this story, because I wanted to run and hide from this story still, but I'm tired of running and hiding from it. It happened. I can't change it. And I know if I don't do right by God and share this in the hopes of helping somebody, even helping myself, I'm going to have to answer for that. And I don't really want to answer for that. So let's jump back 2 years ago. Knowing everything that I just spilled out onto you, I ended up meeting this girl named Sama. We met on Facebook. From Facebook, we ended up moving to IMVU. Now, what IMVU is, if you remember from last week, it's like a little virtual reality. Now, I briefly hinted on this subject because I wanted to talk about, like how I overcame this toxic lover. But now I want to be real about it and call it for what it is and really talk about my size too, because this wasn't just some girl with a pitchfork like forcing me to love her. This was something I had done on my own and got trapped up in on my own when I knew better. So I met Sama on Facebook, and from there, like I said, we went to IMVU. I knew she had a girlfriend at the time, but when me and her first started connecting, she had a male avatar. So I never knew if she was like a he or she was a she, because they have this thing where you can like hide if you're a male or female, or you can state if you're a male and a female. Well, I've always stated that I'm a male, a female, because that's what I am. But so I think it was about maybe 3 months into talking to her, that's when I found out that she was a she. She liked to be called he, though. She wanted to have the, the sex change done and everything, which is why, she really had the guy avatar, because just a lot of bad, sad things have happened to her in her life that kind of makes her feel like she doesn't belong in that body. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't feel like touching on anybody else's story, because like that is hers to share and her right whenever she's comfortable. And if you're watching this wherever you're at, what up, girl? But so And I can't believe I just joked like that. My mom's gonna be like, really, Shay? But so when we started on IMVU, it was just like innocent flirting, you know? And I knew every day I shouldn't be flirting with this girl. I was like, Shay, you need to stop. You like need to nip this in the bud because you are really feeling things. Like, you know how your heart, like if you are attracted to something and like you kind of feel caught on fire, that's how I was slowly becoming, you know? And I would wake up talking to her. I would go to sleep talking to her. I would stay up late and like be sleepy for work talking to her. You know, I could be in the room, y'all, on my laptop in the front room with my family, and I am blowing them off to be on IMVU with this girl. And what's so crazy about it is when we started talking, she didn't even want to claim me. We were friends with benefits. We were sexting. That's all she wanted at first. And, you know, I am a writer. I guess I'll put that out there now. I'm not telling my pen name, but I have wrote erotic stories, you know, and I knew I was good at, I know I am good at writing like a lustful story, an erotic story, you know. I know this because I've ran the blogs, like I've gotten the views, you know, I've gotten the likes and the comments, and like I know that I'm talented at that. So I knew that I was good at fulfilling her needs because like she kept coming back for more. And you know, I kept telling myself like, we're just playing out this story, like don't think too much about it, you know what I'm saying? But the more I saw our avatars and the more we did poses, the more I wanted to believe that this was real, and it was like our own little world. And it's so crazy to say or to think that like I got addicted to a virtual world, but I did. I go see my best friend Sugar Cookie, and I remember one time I went to see this girl, and I am sitting on my laptop at her house talking to this girl because she is mad paranoid and mad possessive, and I'm trying to appease two people. And like, to me, it just feels like so much robbed time. And I get so mad at myself because I did that. Like, I knew better than to dance with the devil, and I did it anyway, you know? And she, like I say, I want to talk about the good before I talk about the bad. We had a lot in common. We both liked anime. Certain styles that we did or how we dressed up our avatars was very similar. It was so much to the point where like if we created something together, we would kind of make identical looks. And at the time, I assumed it was because we just knew so much about each other. But baby, by the time I get through the end of this, you're going to see, like I see, it was just manipulation. But, yeah, we used to spend all the day together, and she would tell me how I brightened up her day and I made her so happy, and like she only needed me in this world. And you know, she talked to me always. She would give me these sweet nicknames in another language. I ain't gonna say, but she used to call me the sweetest things. And like I used to call myself that, display it on my avatar. Y'all, like I would get hard down jealous and mad behind this kid, you know? And so that sounds funny to say, but that's kind of what he had, like the tattoos all over his body and like the long hair. I am a sucker for all of that. Tattoos are a weakness. I see tattoos and I'm like, why? A man with long hair. Now, I ain't saying nothing about a guy who has a shaved head, you know, because I've seen some bald men and I'm like, I will kiss your head. But you know, I really do. I like guys with long hair. And, you know, like I say, because I know that I am attracted to Asians, like, she just had a way of dressing a avatar up. And it was like, man, if he was real, this would be, you know, like my husband. And to me, that's kind of what IMVU is. It's like you portray who you want to be. It's not real, and it's very lonely, and it's very sad because these things, then you will be, you know, like sad, and you won't really know yourself, you know? And I was just so heartbroken to know that I had got there, because my mom tried to tell me like, hey, you know, I know what you're doing, but she said it in a roundabout way. And because I wanted to prove a point to her and to myself, I denied it. You know, but I was falling head over heels. And like, I even know I did heinous acts in this, I really feel like I influenced her decision to break up with her girlfriend. And then I pretty much betrayed her girlfriend which I thought my loyalties were to her, to Sama, but it was just wrong. I should have never been involved in it in the beginning. And so when we were together, y'all, every day, it started off great, but then every day slowly got worse and worse. We argued about the simplest things. She got mad if I told anybody about what happened between us. She always wanted to say, like, we work it out between us, but we don't tell people our business, because if you go back around them, then they're going to be mad at me and we're going to be made up. And it made sense. But then she got to go and tell people what we did. And she used that as an excuse to cheat. Like, how many times? And then sometimes she would tell me, like, it's just a role play, like, I don't have time for you in my life. And then other times she'd be like, you're the only one for me. And so I'd be like, okay, well, are we together or are we not together? But whatever this is, it is not working. And y'all, it got so deep that I spent my actual paycheck money to get us this fake marriage badge, and she still cheated on me. That dirty sucker still cheated on me. And I remember I knew we weren't gonna work. I knew it wasn't going to happen, because like I say, my mom has always told me you can't be unequally yoked with anybody. I knew she wasn't a child of God. She was an atheist, and that's a big no-no for me, because my anything will be under the Lord, and I remember she was telling me, like, I want to become a guy so that way we can have babies. And I was just like, right on, kid, right on. And at one point she had me questioning, like, man, could this? But I kept going back to the same conclusion, that if she was first born a woman, then I am still gonna go to hell for that. And I was like, nope, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't like walking outside on a hot day. Okay, I don't want it. But she would tell me things like, if I pouted or got mad, or if I saw her flirting with somebody and she didn't want to admit it, she would tell me I was being a brat. I was just overthinking. I was just overreacting. And let me tell you something about people who say you're just sensitive. You're just overreacting. You're just overthinking. You're just making a mountain out of a molehill. Excuse me. No, I'm not. How are you going to unvalidate my feelings when I caught you in the act of doing something? It is not me overthinking. It is me seeing what you told this girl on a public feed in front of everybody. Case in point, she told somebody that she would put her snake in their garden. And I was just like, really? That's what we do. That's what we do. And it's just so crazy, because everybody thought that she was actually a he, because all she had was the guy avatar. She never told anybody about her real life but me. And that's why it made me feel so special, because everybody else really thought she was a guy and she could pull it off. That's why people online are scary. If you're listening to me, listen to me well. You need to be very careful who you let in your heart, who you let in your computer, who you let know you. Not everybody cares for you like you care for them. And this is coming from somebody who loves to the ends of the earth. You cannot change a person. That baby is only going to change when they get ready to change. Stop wasting your energy trying to change somebody else. Change yourself first. Work on you and wonder why you are still with people who abuse you. And I am not saying this to hurt your feelings or to be mean. I'm telling you this because I love you. And I'm tired of having fake friends who tell me that they want the best for me, but they don't tell me the truth. No, tell me some truth in my life. I want you to be free of this. I want you to be over this. I want you to not go through the things that I went through, because it wasn't worth it. Waking up at 2 a.m. to spy on them and see them with another person is not worth it. Wondering if they're cheating with me, lusting with another person behind a computer screen was not worth it. And it applies to real people too. You have one life to live. You do not have time to be running behind these people, wondering about how they make their bed up. You just better make sure you tuck your sheets in and fold your comforter before you walk out the room, okay? Okay. Sorry, but I am really passionate about that. And I really feel such a strong pull in my spirit when I talk about that, because I know I had to go through this to get here, But dang, man, if I would have just listened, and if I would have just been willing to look at myself and see me for what I was, I could have avoided this, 2 years of arguing and being cheated on and falling in love with something that wasn't even real. And do you know what I kept thinking about? I don't even know Kiki. Let me go. I don't even know anything about Kiki. I don't know where she lives. I mean, she told me where she lived, but I don't know if she really lived there. She never once wanted to Skype me. She blamed it on her accent. She blamed it on like her Wi-Fi. It was always raining, so like the power cut. And not to say that that probably was not a true thing, but she was very good at telling me what she only wanted me to know. Just lying for no reason. For what? But this year finally, and the crazy part about it is, to tell my testimony part of it, when we first got together, I told you, I said, Lord, I know we're not supposed to be together. But then I used to actually pray to God, please give her strength to leave me, because I don't think I'd have the strength to leave her. And I felt that low about myself. I lacked that much confidence in me. I failed to see that I can do anything through Christ. I didn't know him. I didn't know me. I just felt like this weak, fragile thing that needed this girl, that needed validation, And because I didn't want to be lonely. It seemed like everybody has somebody but me, I'm living with my parents. Seeing them with somebody just, makes me feel like the issue is me. And the issue is me, because I felt lonely, but it's not because of anything I did. It's just because it wasn't time for me to find somebody. Because how can I love somebody when I'm not even loving myself? Me and her argued about my insecurities the most, and she used them against me. She knew how I got jealous. She knew that I needed validating so much on a good day, because I overthink. You can bump into me and I accidentally spill an ice cream cone on your shoe. Even if you tell me it is okay, I'm going to think you want my head on a silver platter. And I'm going to think you think I'm the worst person. And then I just knew today was going to be a bad day and I shouldn't have left out the house. Guys, it's a cycle of going back. It's something that I've had to really struggle with, to untangle webs in my mind. And it was through actually breaking up with her and letting this go, whatever this relationship was, because she didn't want to call it a relationship. So, and I'm going to get to that part too. So anyways, yeah, 2 months of that. And I told her this year when we had our last final argument, because I started praying for God to give me strength. And I told her, I said, I don't know, because she asked me about the shooting in Uvalde and said she hoped I was okay. And and my condolences to the family. And so I told her, I said, I told you that one day I wasn't going to be able to come back, that you were going to use me for good, and there was going to be nothing else left. And I said, I don't have no more love to give you. Like, you've used up everything out of me. And I'm so grateful that she did drain me dry, because how long was it going to take for me to get it together and realize she is not who I'm supposed to be with? And she used to tell me, because I used to tell her, like, just block me if you're done with me. Just like, if you feel that way, just block me. If I'm such an emotional person and like you can't handle my sensitivity, because she used to tell me I was too sensitive, and emotional, and I don't need to be babied and playing the victim card, which, why not baby me? But you know what I'm saying, whatever. And so because of that and those arguments, I always felt like the bad guy and like I was the issue. And so I just kept praying to the Lord for strength, and asking him, God, please. And so after we had that talk and I told her that, she messaged me back, and I checked it a week later. And she said, well, I do hope you come back for one last time. And I was just like, so was this just a joke to you all along then? Like, did you actually not care about my feelings in the process of this? Because that's kind of what you're giving off right now. And it set me off. And it just made me so mad, And Yeah, and I was a little bit bitter about that because the enemy was like, well, if it wasn't real for her, but if it wasn't real for her, that just makes me more victorious because it was real for me, because I really did feel that heartache, because you really did break my heart, because you really did take advantage of me, because you really did do me wrong when all I ever tried to do was to pour love into you. Even though I knew it was wrong, even though I was forsaking myself for you, I was tailoring myself to be perfect for you. But when you went to slay me, you used the dullest knife, and I just thank the Lord that he had mercy on me, that he kept me, and that he allowed me enough love and grace as his daughter to walk away from the thing that was trying to kill me. Because y'all, I had broken hearts. I woke up feeling just so bad. I would just eat and cry. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would just be so distraught and beside myself because I couldn't be with them, because I didn't know what they were doing, because if they were talking in their language and I couldn't understand them, I wanted to translate it. But the translator, they told me that the translator was lying. And because I'm not a native of that language, how can I combat what you say? I have to trust you. And it was so much. It was a painful experience. I ain't gonna say the first week I felt like I could do it. I blocked a lot of times before I really got serious and wanted better. But my best friend, my sugar cookie, that is my girl, really. Y'all, you need a best friend. You need somebody that understands you. And I know the Lord is my best friend. He is the first one. But I do feel like he gave me my sugar cookie. And I tell her that always. But it was her exemplifying his love for me, her grace, her compassion about this, her telling me one day at a time, baby, one day. And that's how you build your life. And that's how my father talks to me. And it's so amazing that he knew I could not just handle that as a thought. So he manifested his spirit into a person for me, to talk to me. And man, that is just crazy to think. And I am just so grateful to the Lord, that he has even given me the opportunity to sit here and share with you guys, my pajama crew, that yes, I fell in love with a girl named Sama and with her avatar, her male avatar, but I walked away from Sama and I got even closer to the Lord because of it, and I just hope that this is really a cautionary tale for somebody. But if not, hopefully this is a motivating story for somebody too. You are not what you did. I am not that same girl. Like, yes, I may have went after a girl, but I know for a fact I ain't, into women. I want a man, I know who I am as a person now, and I'm steady growing every day. And not believing what she said about me has been hard, because I catch myself thinking sometimes like, oh man, like Sama thought this, so what if they think that? But I say I have a great support circle who every time I tell them about an obnoxious overthinking something, they shut me down with love. Baby, I wouldn't even think about that. What's going on with you? What you need to work out? They are very gracious. And I just want to be that for somebody and tell you, look at me, look at the camera, listen in on the podcast if you've listened in. Your feelings are valid. You are a valid individual. You are so loved and cherished. And if you have my skin tone, if you're a little bit darker, if you're a little bit lighter and you are a minority, no, you are beautiful. And white people, you're beautiful too. I'm not saying that, nobody's not beautiful. But I know what it is as a Black woman to not hear somebody say constantly, you are loved. I believe that you are an amazing individual, and you can do this. So let me pour that into you. And though Sama was my weakness, the Lord is my strength. And he is rising me up above all of these ashes. And I'm just, now I feel like I have told my story in a way that I wanted to present it, in a way that is authentic, in a way that is true, in a way that is real, and in a way that is me. So I hope this helps you so much. I hope that you can pull from this and wherever you are in your life. I thank you for listening in to me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night, the rest of your week. And until I see you next Saturday, keep keep it rocking, keep it hanging. And remember, we gonna get through this together. Oh, and please, if you're watching this, leave a like. Please, you don't have to, but it would make me happy if you did. And please comment. Talk to me in the comments. You can DM me at Shaychan on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok at Shaychan. Check out my Anchor podcast, A Pop's Perspective. Check out the Real Bible Stories. And now, remember that I love you and the Lord loves you as well. And He will always love you.